If corporations were properly taxed, like everyone else is in this country, think of all the shit America could provide for its citizens. 0.4.
Negative 2.2. The U.S. government actually paid AIG a refund.
Why?
After the company had received $17.4 billion in bailouts, but was not effective in a turnaround, President Barack Obama forced the resignation of CEO Rick Wagner. It's widely criticized for its history of climate change denial. They changed their mind in like 2014 on it.
What do you expect them to do, Alex? How are they going to make money if they can't make oil anymore?
They made nuclear weapons and are responsible for Agent Orange in the Vietnam War. You familiar with what Agent Orange is? Since January 2011, Chevron has donated almost $15 million to government lobbying, most of that to the Republican Party.
What? Hang on. Whoa, I'm reeling.
Negative 4.1%. So they made $29.6 billion in profits, and the United States government gave them $1.2 billion.
I hope you're Johnsing for some tennis podcast, because here we are. I'm joined today by a smooth-skinned superstar I've known since the 6th grade, I think. His name is Alex Johns. Alex, were you born this cool, or did you develop it over time?
I developed it over time. I've been Johnsing for this day as well. For you to finally acknowledge my name in a intro.
Do I not do that?
You never said Johnsing before. I love it.
And that's true.
I
think
love
I've
it.
said that period, not just now, like ever. So that's excellent. Well, Alex, how you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, you know. You got to talk to me for an hour.
I'm going to do my best to keep this episode under 15 minutes. We'll see how I hope you can speed talk through your notes.
Well, I promise you, with the topic I brought today, I will do no ranting at all. It's a very even keel, it's going to be a fun, lighthearted episode.
Now that you say that, I'm remembering that you sent me a text like a week ago saying you chose a topic that's going to get your ass ranting. So I'm ready. A ranting Alex is the best Alex. Real quick, before we get going, I got to sneak in a quick plug and let the listeners know that if you've been sleeping under a rock, or maybe even a big old butt, it's time to wake up and listen to our monthly short form series, The Tiny Tennis. Have you listened to The Tiny Tennis, Alex?
I have.
It's okay
They're
if you
great.
haven't.
They're cute. Tiny and cute.
Yeah. The Tiny Tennis features yours truly covering top 10-ish lists in 10-ish minutes or less. It drops right here on this feed on the first Monday of every month. The most recent edition dropped this week, the top 10 exports from Canada. It's more interesting than it sounds, I promise. So if you skipped it, after you listen to me and Alex here, go listen to The Tiny Tennis.
How many times did Brad come up in the top 10 exports from Canada?
Like literally several times.
I guess he's not an export. He's still there.
I didn't think about that, but his ass is Canadian. That's all I need.
Yep.
That's the only connection I need to talk a lot about Brad.
How do we extradite Brad from Canada so he becomes an export of Canada?
He told me he's going to come visit me in Oklahoma. And just his delivery, like, you can never quite tell if he's joking. I think he's joking, but I couldn't bet my life on it.
Okay, two things. One, I'm just imagining like him showing up at a Canadian airport with a boarding pass going to Tulsa, Oklahoma, and then being like, "We've never seen anyone going to Oklahoma from here before." Didn't even know this airport existed. And two, I'm just imagining him showing up at your door randomly, unannounced one day. "Hey, I'm here."
He'd show up in a Dodge Caravan for sure. I could think of people I'd hate to see at my front door more or less. Like, he's kind of just right there in the middle.
It'll be a time.
Brad Choma, if you're listening, please come to Oklahoma.
If you need his address, just reach out. I'll give it to you, Brad.
Social Security as well, right?
Yeah.
Enough grab-assing. Stop trying to distract us and tell me this topic that's going to make you rant like a motherfucker.
Okay, well, first, have you paid your taxes yet? It is, what's the date today? March?
Hang on, it's off top of my head. I just can't remember, but today is, March 6th.
You don't have much time. Taxes are due before long. You better get on it.
Are we talking about taxes today? Because, I don't know, I might have to unsubscribe.
So let me share with you the list I brought today. I brought the top 10 Fortune 100 companies who paid the least in taxes.
Okay.
So, disclosure, I have a list of the top 19 companies. So there are 19 companies on this Fortune 100 list that all paid in a single digit tax rate. So less than 10% in taxes.
And I'm guessing the list is ranked on percentage, not like...
Ranked on percentage. So not by like total dollars, spent, but by percentage.
Well, tell me about the list. When's the date, like as of when, all that?
So this was as of 2021 taxes. So it would have been like tax season 2022, right? But for the 2021 tax year.
We got to go way in the way back machine, Alex.
Mhm.
Fuck, you couldn't have found something more modern? Jesus Christ, did they even have color TV back in 2021? This is a long time ago. God damn.
And this list comes from a website called American Progress.
An oxymoron.
There is no progress in America.
There it is.
You'll see some regressions, though. So first off, how do you feel about taxes?
Where do we start on such a fun topic? I'm not an expert on this, but I've heard that in other countries, they don't have things like TurboTax and, H&R Block because the government already knows what you owe in taxes. They just send you a check or they send you a bill. And I've heard that America could do the same thing, but like the TurboTaxes of the world lobby to make sure that the laws stay such that Americans are forced to do their own taxes. And again, think about it. When the government audits you, just do that shit from the beginning. You already know what I fucking owe. Just send me the check. It's like a test to see if you're gonna be honest or not. I don't get it. But it's a whole industry. I mean, that's the truth. Tax services is an industry that's why we have it.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. We're like the only major company or country, basically could call us a company, that fucking...
He's ranting already.
Has to file your taxes. Every other country is just like, here's what you owe, pay us. You know, like America could do that, but there's no political will. I read that now that Biden actually funded the IRS like decently, which hasn't been for like years and years and years, that they are starting to work on some sort of system to allow taxpayers, basically that, right? To allow taxpayers to file for free through the United States government and not have to go through like a middleman. So yeah, basically just kind of wanted to give you some guide rails, So tax rate varies. Tax rate is a very complicated topic that would take a long time to get into, but essentially as a individual person, your tax rate varies between 10% and 37%, right? So just keep those numbers in mind. 37% is that top rate for dollars made past like $600,000. So it's like, most people aren't going to see that. Those are going to be like the richest
wealthy people. Yep.
Yeah. Most of us are staying like right around the 20% range. The corporate tax rate is different. There's no sliding scale or anything like that. It's just a flat 21%. It used to be 35% until Trump's tax scam dropped it to 21%. So
that's a big drop.
That's a huge drop. I don't know how much you know about this bill. I don't know how much this bill.
Not a lot.
So it essentially wrote it to where the first year it got passed, everyone paid less in taxes, right? As like
individuals as well, right?
Individuals, yeah. Corporations, right. Individuals, just less taxes, but that's less revenue coming in, right? But he had it on a sliding scale to where every year for the next like 8 years, the individual tax rate went up and went up and went up, just slowly but surely, to where it wouldn't really get noticed until the next presidential term where, oh, surprise, it's a Democratic president. They intentionally wrote this bill for things to get bad when the Democrats have the office. So then your Joe Schmoes will blame Biden for their taxes being so high, when in reality it's because of Trump's bullshit tax plan.
Isn't that how it always is? The Republican president fucks up the economy and the Democratic president has to clean it up and then
gets blamed for it.
And then gets blamed for it, and then we just go around and around and around. And like you said, well, fuck, I'm not going to talk about how Donald Trump's probably the next president. So,
but the great thing is this corporate tax rate. There's no sliding scale there. They got cut down and they stayed down. And so,
tell me this: like, it's no secret what you and I think about Trump. So, put your pro-Trump hat on for a second to reach way deep in the closet. Reach around, find that Trump cap in the dark. What would his supporters say is the justification for lowering that corporate tax rate? Like, what's the benefit to America?
The propaganda that they're fed is that it's for the job creators, right? You give the corporations more money, they're going to make more jobs, and more jobs mean more people are going to be making money, right?
That's what they say. Spending money on the economy.
Spending money, yeah. And in a perfect world, sure. If that's what was going to happen, I'd support it. But time and time again, we see trickle-down economics do not work. When you give the ultra-wealthy and corporations more money, they just pocket it, send it offshore. It's a game to who's going to get the high score. You give the working class more money, and suddenly the economy boosts. They're spending, and they have means to go on vacations and buy new clothes and all this stuff. So
sign up for Tennis Pod Plus.
Yeah. So anyway, I have a whole list here of like how our tax rates have varied over the 19th century or the 20th century. We're probably not going to go into it, but I did want to point out that during World War I and World War II, our top tax rate was like in the 60s and 70s percents. And even World War II, it peaked at 94% for income over $200,000, which in today's money is $2.5 million. You make $2.5 million, anything more is taxed at 94%. Fuck yeah, let's see that again.
That's essentially what people like Bernie Sanders mean today when they talk about taxing the ultra rich, right?
Yeah.
And 2.5 million isn't even that, right? We could go much higher than that. I don't know.
I'd be happy going 10. Okay, yeah. 10 million. Anything over 10 million, tax it to hell. I mean, it doesn't even have to be that high. Let's go back to, so the 50s through the 70s, consistently, it was 70%. I'd do 70%. That's fair.
Is that over, again, like the 2.5 mil?
Yeah, that's over that high value.
Today, 2.5 million today. Today's money, yeah. Just to be clear. Yep.
Yes. Right now, the top is 37. What is that what I said? Yeah. 37%. Like, I don't know. Double that. And then, of course, raise the peak again.
So today, in 2024, if you make over 600, I think you said 600,000 earlier, yes. Something like that.
Yes.
That's when you're taxed at 37%.
Yes, for just those dollars over the 600,000.
Right. And the dollars under that, you're taxed at what? The 20-something percent?
The ranging percent, right? Your first 11,000 is 10%, and then your next 30,000 is 12%, and then your next X thousand is 22%. And it just kind of raises on these buckets, right? These tax buckets. So when you hear someone complaining like, "Oh, I can't get a raise, it's going to bump me into the next tax bracket." It doesn't work like that, because you're taxed at the lower rates until you hit that amount, and then it's only what you make above that amount.
Yeah. Interesting. Do you have what the corporate tax rate was back in World War II times?
There's not a lot of good data on corporate tax rate, but it's always hovered like, it's never been as high as the personal tax rate, ever. And honestly, there was not a corporate tax rate like in the early 1900s. So like,
because who could have foreseen the way?
Yeah, like what is a corporation, to them at that time?
They're still shitting in the streets back then. They weren't thinking about corporate
shitting in
tax
the streets,
rates.
Fucking, wiping their ass with twigs they find on the fucking side of the road. Yeah,
putting leeches on their bodies to cure their fucking cancers. Yeah, fucking idiots.
Doctors telling them they got ghosts in their blood.
Okay.
So anyway, enough fucking lollygally, and why don't you give me a guess as to a corporation you think is in the top 10?
All right, so as of tax year 2021, the corporations that paid the least in taxes. You don't have to answer this now because I'm sure we'll get to it as we go, but I am not clear, and I'm hoping you'll tell me, what makes a corporation pay less than another corporation if they're both above, 20,000 billion, million, trillion dollars, like so many of these corporations are?
That is my question. And I should, I did so much damn research trying to figure out how these companies paid so little. And there's nothing. I guess all they have to do is report what they pay, but they don't have to report how they paid it. So there's no information, which again, that fucking sucks. Like, I wish we had laws to like allow transparency to corporate finances, that'd be helpful. We just have the amount they paid and the percentage, and it's just speculation as to how they did it.
Last thing, I promise, and then I'll guess, is the top 10 here, are these all like household companies every one of us has heard of?
You've heard of every single one of these companies.
All right. Well, let's start with...
They're Fortune 100 companies, right? So like
Fortune 100, you're right. You said that. Yes. I forgot. Well, I'll give you a guess. Somewhere in the middle of the pack, I'd say, is middle of the, like around the number 5 area is Walmart.
Surprisingly, Walmart was not on the list.
Not even, what'd you say, top 19?
Not even in the top 19.
For a company that has a larger revenue line than fucking economies of some countries.
And I mean, and they may have paid right at the rate. I don't know.
Procter & Gamble.
Procter & Gamble. No, great guess, but not on the list. 0 for 2.
There's a big one that I'm thinking might be number 1 that I'm going to hold on to. So is there any like retailers kind of in the Walmart realm?
No retailers.
Financial institutions?
Yes. There's Nike at 13. Yeah, no other really retailers on here. But yeah, there are 2 financial institutions. Actually, depending on your definition, probably more than 2.
Wells Fargo?
No Wells Fargo.
Chase Bank?
Or is Chase part of this company?
JP Chase Morgan or whatever.
I know what you're saying. I don't think Chase is part of it, but I'll go ahead and give you the bank. It's Bank of America.
Fucking knew it.
Yeah.
Hang on, don't tell me the number. It's 8.
Bank of America is number 10.
Knew it.
Yeah.
Can't get it past me, Alex.
Yeah, this is why you have a top 10 show. So anyway, you want to guess what you think the percentage tax rate was that Bank of America paid?
Well, you mentioned the 10% number earlier, so I'm going to use that as kind of a benchmark. And I'll say if they're number 10, they pay 7%.
3.5%.
Oh.
Exactly half. So they made $30.6 billion in profits and paid only $1.1 billion in taxes.
That's just profits.
Yeah. Which you hear 1.1 billion, you're like, oh yeah, that's a lot. But like in the grand scheme of like how much they made, they should have fucking paid more.
If corporations were properly taxed, or just fairly taxed, like everyone else is in this country, think of all the shit America could provide for its citizens.
Imagine what we could do. We could have healthcare. We could have fucking, I don't know, we could like support our veterans that we idolize.
I didn't realize I was talking to a fucking fascist here, Alex.
We could have trains. Imagine the trains we could have.
The trains.
You know, like, oh man, we would be living.
You sound like a little boy that wants a new train for Christmas.
I do want a new train for Christmas. Biden, please give me a train for Christmas. I don't care where it goes.
It's so maddening, isn't it? Just all the stuff that's just sitting right there. Like it would not be that hard to make these changes. I mean, I know it is hard in reality, but you know what I mean? Like technically it would not be hard. But
speaking of trains, do you know about this new train they're building in Florida? It's a public-private partnership. So the government like gave this private corporation money to build trains to like better the American people. But then once it's built, the private company gets to keep all the profits. What the fuck?
So why is the government even contributing to it then?
Because trains are good, right? Trains are good for the population. And the thought is that the private company can't raise enough money on the early side to build it. So, I mean, I kind of get it, but like share those profits with the fucking taxpayers, you know? Like
what you just said would have been, you'd be laughed out of the room in one of those board meetings.
Yeah, you're right. They don't want to hear it.
All right, tell me about Bank of America.
Yeah, Bank of America, founded in 1904. It's the second largest banking institution behind JP Morgan Chase. So that's where JP Morgan Chase was coming in. They're not on this list. Honestly, this was probably the most boring company I researched. Couple things I noted. CEO to median pay ratio is 247 to 1. So the CEO makes 247 times the amount of the median pay. Not the lowest pay, the median pay in the company.
What's wild about that?
What's wild? Tell me.
just like
let's do it.
The CEOs of these companies are important, for sure. They play an important role.
They're fucking not. What the fuck do they do?
I'm not saying they're the most important. I'm not saying they're critical, but they're important. It's important to have a figurehead at the top of your company.
Face, sure.
That was my point, though, is they're not 247 times more important than the people in the middle that are actually making this company, making this company money. I don't know how we got to this point.
Corporate greed. Yeah, the only other thing I noted on this company was that I browsed their Wikipedia page because a lot of these I tried to find like controversies, fun lawsuits to bring up. There was over 20 controversies, lawsuits, and incidents on the Wikipedia page, and they all none of them were exciting. It was just like corporate fuckery, right?
Corporate finance bullshit.
Yeah. So just fuck them.
Fuck them.
That's all I got to say.
I agree. But see, again, and I know you don't know the answer, but I don't get why Bank of America, it makes less money than JP Morgan Chase, or they're at least comparable. They're like competitors.
Yeah.
And JP Morgan Chase pays enough taxes to not be in the top 19 here in Bank of America. I just don't get it.
I don't know. JP Morgan Chase was number 14, by the way. So they paid 5.9% in taxes.
Okay. All right.
So just a little bit more.
There's another financial institution here in the top 10.
So there are two insurance companies.
Oh, insurance.
Which you could kind of say are financial institutions.
Yeah. What is an insurance company if not a financial institution? In this, you said there's two on here? Two insurance companies?
Yes.
Is there a cute little green lizard in one of the commercials?
Yeah, no Geico.
Is there a quirky woman named Flo?
No Progressive. These are not insurance companies that you're going to see advertised on TV often. These are more shady. I mean, I wouldn't say shady, but think more like Wall Street in insurance rather than your mom and pop. Not mom and pop, but
What about like Metlife or something like that?
Number 7.
Knew it.
You want to take a stab at their percentage?
Yeah, so number 10 is Bank of America at 3.5%. You haven't told me what number 1 is, but I'm going to guess number 1 is like 1% or less. So let's put MetLife at like 2.8-ish.
MetLife is at 1.3%.
Oh, damn. That's a big fall from just number 10, 3 spots earlier.
Yes. Yeah, MetLife made $4.8 billion in profits and paid just $62 million in taxes.
That is nothing.
Nothing.
They don't even notice that.
No, it's a drop in the bucket. MetLife began in 1863, where they insured Civil War sailors and soldiers against disabilities due to wartime wounds, accidents, and sickness. So they started as a fucking Civil War.
I gotta hand it to them. Like, I'm surprised. If you were going to war, would you buy insurance for injury?
Yeah,
wouldn't you just think, I'm just gonna fucking go die in this war? I don't give a fuck if I'm.
I don't know. I'd love to hear like the
maybe it was life insurance for their families.
Maybe. In 1868, they shifted more to general life insurance. And then by 1930, 1 in 5 men, women, and children in the U.S. and Canada were insured by MetLife.
Wow.
So they were huge. Tons of mergers and acquisitions and bullshit from 1992 to 2000. They sued the federal government for increased financial regulations after the 2008 crash. I have in my notes here after that, fuck them. And
I agree.
Also, I have New York Giants Stadium is named after MetLife.
Yes. Is there any company on here that will not end in fuck them?
I gotta say, there is one company on this list who, despite being a piece of shit company, they've got a few good things that I highlighted from their distant past. And so we'll get into that for sure. I'm fair. I'll take the good,
Okay.
When there's good, I'll mention it.
It is wild that a company has been around since the Civil War.
Huh? Right? And it's just like, if I wanted to start an insurance company today, how the fuck would I compete with MetLife or Geico or Progressive? Like, how does anyone the American dream is dead. How can you compete with these mega corporations at all? It's impossible.
Make a deal with the devil.
Yeah,
give up your firstborn to Satan.
That still won't be enough.
I want to nail the other insurance.
I wouldn't say it's a household name. I've definitely heard of it, but...
Do you have any sort of clue you can give me? Okay, just tell me then.
American International Group, AIG.
Oh, AIG.
Yeah, you've heard of AIG.
Yeah. 6.
AIG is number 3. And at number 3, keep in mind, number 7 effective tax rate was 1.3%. Where do you think AIG falls at number 3? This is going to make you so fucking mad.
0.4.
Negative 2.2. The U.S. government actually paid AIG a refund.
Why?
On tax. I don't know. I couldn't find.
Alex.
I couldn't figure it out. I looked.
What was it? Negative what?
And I looked. Negative 2.2%. Okay. So they made $9.8 billion in profits. And the United States government gave them another $216 million.
The government's the one fucking suffering for this shit. Why are they doing this to themselves?
I don't know, man. I don't know. Fucking write-offs and bullshit and more bullshit. Probably got some laws that they can write off bad insurance claims or something. I don't fucking know.
I was going to say they invested in some new technology, but an insurance company doesn't do that. It's like, I'm making this up, but say Amazon invested trillions of dollars in some new warehouse and factory in some market that gave a bunch of jobs. They could write that off maybe and get the bunch. But AIG's not fucking doing that shit. They're just scamming you out of your fucking insurance.
Yeah, I don't know, man. AIG. It's a multinational finance and insurance company. Offers general insurance, life insurance, and retirement insurance.
Any butt insurance?
No butt insurance. I looked. I checked.
Damn.
I cannot find anyone to insure this butt.
Fuck. Anyway. You and I are out of luck, but imagine Dr. Buster. I mean,
now that's
he's in trouble.
Hefty investment if you catch my drift.
He's got some pre-existing conditions on that ass.
So it was founded in 1919. Listen to this guy's name. By Cornelius van der Star. Isn't that a good name?
Van der Star.
Yeah.
Is there a space between Vander and Star?
There is, and there are 2 R's on Star.
Consider me twice as impressed.
A great name.
That's a great
Probably
name. That's like a Hollywood name.
Yes. Anyway, founded by this dude as a general insurance agency.
Cornelius.
I got some bad here. In late 2008, the federal government bailed out AIG for $180 billion. So part of the 2008 financial crash, whatever.
Yes. Which Obama inherited, by the way.
Yes. The government technically assumed control during this time because many believed its failure would endanger the financial integrity of other major firms. So this was similar to some auto industries as well that got bailed out. It was like the government actually was in control for a few months to basically set things straight, which fucking love to see that. I wish we saw that more. Anyway, so in March 2009, after, they got in control back, yada, yada, yada. AIG announced that it would pay its executives over $165 million in executive bonuses. Total bonuses for the financial unit could reach $450 million, and bonuses for the entire company could reach $1.2 billion. So this is not even a year after the United States government just hands them $180 billion to bail them out. They're like, oh, we're going to go give our executives bonuses.
I don't get it. And these companies are publicly traded. You would think that their stockholders would not want to see this shit either, but...
As a response, President Obama at the time said, it's hard to understand how derivative traders at AIG warranted any bonuses, much less $165 million in extra pay. How do they justify this outrage to the taxpayers who are keeping the company afloat? Which, exactly.
There's no
so
good
well-spoken. I miss having a president that was that well-spoken.
Right. The current and former presidents, not known for their great speech maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember some of this actually, now that you mention it, back in 0809 era, and that is so frustrating. And now here we are 15 years later, between 10 and 15 years after that, and the government's paying them hundreds of $1 million in back taxes. Or not back taxes, but tax returns. So I think AIG can suck my pee-pee is what I think. All right, AIG, fuck them. Is there any other...
I would say no additional financial corporations, no.
And there's no retail. What about like an airline?
No airlines, surprisingly. Although I don't know if any airlines are in the Fortune 100. If you like, you're welcome to pull up a Fortune 100 list.
Maybe if I was a fucking noob, I would do that, but I don't need that shit, Alex.
Fair.
I'm actually feeling kind of disrespected.
You're doing so well as is. You're right.
All right, I was hanging on to this one, but I'll just do it now. Amazon.
So surprise, surprise, Amazon is 15 on the list. Not too bad. Amazon actually paid 6.1% in taxes, which...
Let's be clear, not too bad compared to the top 10, but fucking terrible still in terms of the entire country.
Yeah, they made a profit of $35.1 billion and paid just $2.1 billion in taxes. Would you like me to go through 19 through 11?
Yeah, let's do that.
19. UPS, the United Parcel Service.
Yep.
Not to be confused with USPS, the United States Postal Service. Number 18, Microsoft. Number 17, Coca-Cola. Number 16, Verizon. Number 15, Amazon. Number 14, JP Morgan Chase. Number 13, Nike. Number 12 was FedEx. Number 11 was Merck & Co. That's the only one on this list. I don't know what they do.
I've heard that name. Is AT&T on here?
There you go. AT&T. At number 3 was a negative 2.2%.
No.
Where do you think AT&T's fucking tax? Negative 4.1%.
It's still bad.
So they made $29.6 billion in profits, and the United States government gave them $1.2 billion.
Why not? Why can't they give me that shit? I pay them every year on my taxes.
I have to think with AT&T, it's got to be some sort of like providing telecommunications to, you know, community rebate type of stuff, you know, even though they're making money on this, like, I don't know, whatever.
We don't know, but it still sucks and fuck them.
Yeah. All right. I've got lots of words to say about AT&T here. So during most of the 20th century, AT&T had a monopoly on phone service in the United States, like complete monopoly, no competitors. The company began its history as the American District Telegraph Company, formed in St. Louis in 1878. From there, they just merged and gobbled up their competition until the 1982 United States versus AT&T antitrust lawsuit, back when our government actually could do some stuff. And think about this, 1982, who was president in 1982? Fucking Ronald Reagan.
Love that guy.
Even Reagan could understand monopolies that need to be broken up. Why can't fucking Joe Biden understand there's monopolies that need to be broken? I know he doesn't have the support of Congress and yada, 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 but still, like, government used to work, and I wish it still did. Yeah. Anyway, back to it. So it was what was it? United States versus AT&T antitrust lawsuit required AT&T to split into 7 independent companies. They called these companies Baby Bells because they used to be called, like, Bell was like the, you know.
After the guy that did the phone, right? What was his name? Alexander Bell?
Alexander Graham Bell.
Was he actually part of AT&T at any point, or did they just take his name?
I think they just took his name. I don't think he was part of it. But essentially, so... This pisses me off so much. So they split AT&T into 7 independent companies. Since then, those companies have been merging.
I knew it. I knew you were going to say that. Yeah.
And one of the Bells, Southwestern Bell, purchased its former parent company, AT&T, in 2005 and took on the AT&T name and logo. So basically, AT&T turned into 7 companies, one of them being Southwestern Bell, who then purchased their parent to take the name and logo back. And now in 2024, 5 of those 7 Bells are owned by AT&T, and the other 2 are owned by Verizon.
God bless America.
They did so well to, like, break this up, but there's no teeth to, like, enforce it to stay that way.
Right.
You know,
they were able to accomplish something and have a very short-term victory, but in the end, it actually meant nothing, and it probably helped them in some ways.
Probably.
To, like, diversify their business and remerge, and they probably got tax breaks for merging. I don't know how all that shit works, but
who fucking knows?
It's and AT&T fucking sucks. They get all this money and they make all these mergers and they get all this money from the government and they still can't give me a fucking decent signal. I don't know. Something's missing.
Fuck him.
Fuck him, I agree. You hear that? Shh. Listen. That's the sound of another ad interrupting your podcast episode. Is there anything worse than another ad? But life doesn't have to be this way, dear listener. You could be skipping this very ad right now. In fact, you could skip all ads on 10ish Podcast. All you need is about 10 seconds and you can live your life 100% ad-free. Take those 10 seconds right now and go to 10ishpod.com/plus. Go ahead, pause this episode and do it right now. At 10ishpod.com/plus, you can easily sign up to become a 10ishpod Plus member. As a member, you'll never hear an ad ever again. But wait, there's more. Members also get access to about 70 exclusive bonus episodes that can't be heard anywhere else. But it's not just bonus episodes. Members also enjoy the exclusive members-only podcast, The Bookbuster, where our own Dr. Buster puts his real-life psychology doctoral degree to good use as he reviews a new psychology or self-help book every month. All bonus episodes and Bookbuster episodes can be listened to right in the very app you're listening to me on right now. No extra apps or know-how needed. There are more benefits too, like free swag, monthly giveaways, blooper reels, and more. So what are you waiting for? Pause my voice right now, take 10 seconds, and go sign up. By the way, if you're an Apple Podcast listener, sign up in just one tap at the top of our Apple Podcast page. So start your free 7-day trial now at 10ishpod.com/PLUS or on Apple Podcasts. Or don't sign up at all and sit through more ads right now. The choice is yours. Didn't you say Verizon was like number 12 or something?
Yeah, they're on the list somewhere. They're number 16, yeah.
Are there any other internet, telecommunications, cable sorts of companies on here?
Yes.
Spectrum.
Yes. Spectrum is under the Charter Communications umbrella. Where do you think
Number
Charter
5.
Communications? Number 4. You're close. You want to guess what their effective tax rate was?
So number 7 was 1.3. I'll put this at like negative 0.5.
So they made just $6 billion and government paid them back $12 million. So pretty small numbers
Just
in comparison
$6 billion
to the rest of the list.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I think that's the smallest we've covered so far.
It is the smallest on the top 10.
10, yeah.
That Merck and Company is a little smaller, whoever the fuck Merck is.
I think they're insurance.
If you subscribe to Merck and Co., just unsubscribe from this podcast.
They're investor relations.
Oh, fuck them. They sound scummy.
Fuck them. Let's just end it there. Fuck them.
All right. Charter Communications. It's an American telecommunications and mass media company with services branded as Spectrum. It's the second largest cable operator in the United States by subscribers, just behind Comcast. Fuck them as well. And the third largest pay TV operator behind Comcast and AT&T, because AT&T also has TV.
Which might be what you're referring to, but...
Probably. Charter Communications, they filed for bankruptcy in 2009. They relisted on the NASDAQ in 2010, started merging and acquiring other media companies, including Time Warner in 2017. If you file for bankruptcy, your life's fucking over.
Yeah.
But if Charter Communications files for bankruptcy, it's just business as usual.
Yeah, a lot of times when companies like merge and acquire... one or both of those companies are fucking like bankrupt or in billions of dollars in debt, and somehow they're still able to do this shit. I won't pretend to understand the finance aspect of it all, but
we know. We're just two fucking guys.
Yeah. No Cornelius Vanderstars here or anything like that?
No fun names there. Really nothing fun about Spectrum. I think Spectrum gives me my internet, actually. Maybe I should speak a little nicer to him.
Why? You like your internet?
It's fine. I have gigabit. Speeds are good.
The thing about internet is... for me, it's kind of like an airline. Like, you might find an airline that gets you from A to B, but they're still going to overcharge you and they still have shitty customer service.
Yeah.
Since we've done 5 of the 10, do a quick recap of where we are.
So you have number 10, Bank of America, number 7, MetLife, number 4, Charter Communications, 3, AIG.
Comcast, you mentioned them.
No Comcast, and in fact, there's no more telecommunications. So what you have left, do you want to hear the topics of the 5 you have left? Or like the...
Yeah, the industry.
Industry, yeah. You have 2 oil companies. You have 2 automakers, like automobile makers.
Of course,
and 1 chemical company.
Ford.
Ford is number 6. Oh, I should have let you guess.
You should have let me guess. Hey, Alex, I'll bet it's number 6.
Oh, wow. How'd you know? $10 billion in profits, paid $102 million in taxes. All right, so I told you there's going to be one company on this list that had some positives. It's Ford.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Founded in 1903 by Henry Ford, headquartered in Dearborn, Michigan, which is like right outside of Detroit, I think.
I spent a week in Dearborn one night. Please continue.
Did I miss a joke?
Yeah. How do you spend a week somewhere in one night?
Oh, I get it. Second largest U.S. automaker and the sixth largest in the world. It did not need to be rescued by the federal government, unlike the other two major U.S. automakers during the 2008 financial crisis. However, it did struggle financially, but businesses struggle, and that's fine. And they figured their shit out. It's since returned to profitability, and it has been controlled by the Ford family for over 100 years. So, the controlling interests of the company are still descendants of Henry Ford, which I like and I don't like. It's cool, but also I don't really like dynasties. But at the same time, I also don't like shareholders exerting their will. So maybe because it's one family, that's why they've been successful, and they're not.
So what would you prefer, Alex?
I don't
know.
Child
to run it or something? I mean, if you don't want the shareholders and you don't want the family, then who's gonna run this sumbitch?
Some mutual the fucking a corporate structure. What do they call that? Where your workers all have a say in the goings-ons of the company, right? A co-op? I think it's called a co-op, maybe?
Yeah, sounds like hippie shit to me. Yeah. Sounds fucking hippie shit. Tell me this. You have two cats named, one's Gretchen and one is Frankie.
Mm-hmm.
Which one of those cats would make a better CEO of Ford?
Oh, gosh. I mean, Gretchen is just so fucking cute.
Gretchen's legit top 3 cutest cat I've ever seen.
But Frankie, if he wants something, he's gonna fucking get it, and nothing's gonna stop him.
Alex sent me a video this week of it was like an indoor blink camera or something like that, and it captured Frankie the black cat stealing Alex's food off his plate, and Alex runs in screaming, Frankie,
that is not your catfish. And he's just he grabs it and just runs off the counter and just runs.
What do you expect? There's fucking catfish on the counter, and this cat can jump on the counter like it's nothing. You don't expect him to go after it?
Oh, man.
Come on. That's on you.
Yeah. Anyway, let's get back to Ford. So,
all right.
During World War II, Ford built B-12 bombers, or B-24 bombers. That's kind of fun.
It's really fun. Love it.
Ford pioneered the assembly line, which increased chassis assembly time from 12.5 hours down to 2 hours and 40 minutes. So huge increases in productivity.
Does that mean that it used to take them 12 and a half hours to build one car?
Build a chassis, yeah. I don't know if that's there's probably more to it than just the chassis, but that's the main function. And it got it down to 2 hours, 40 minutes.
And now they're doing it in 6 seconds or some shit.
Yeah, it's something crazy. So these innovations were hard on employees. Shocker. Turnover was very high. However, Ford solved this by doubling their pay to $5 a day, which back then was, pretty damn good. Cutting shifts down to 8 hours per day, 5 days a week, which sounds normal now, but back then that was I
wonder if he's the one that kind of standardized that.
Yes, he absolutely is. And he instituted hiring practices that identified the best workers, including some disabled people that other firms considered unemployable. So a pioneer in inclusive, workforce. The line workers were able to afford a Model T with less than 4 months pay, which was just unheard of for factory workers to be able to afford consumer goods back then.
Or now.
Yeah, exactly. And due to this, it helped increase sales because more people were able to buy a Model T. And so productivity soared, turnover plunged. It allowed Ford to cut prices again and again and again on the Model Ts. It was a huge success. But meanwhile, Wall Street continuously criticized Ford's generous labor practices, despite the success it brought. So Wall Street thought, this is fucking dumb. He shouldn't be doing this.
I'll tell you why they thought it's dumb. Because they knew he was leaving money on the table.
Yep.
That's why. They knew that if he could cut costs and not cut prices as much, they could get more money.
Yeah.
But he had a model that everybody won, but it wasn't good enough for them.
Probably the one good thing we'll talk about today, Henry Ford. Now, nowadays, their company, probably just as shit as everyone else. I did like that they didn't have to get bailed out like the other two big automakers, but...
Which is what? Is that Chrysler and GM? Are those the other two?
Nice.
Okay. Nice. Are they on this list?
One of them is.
Let's go Chrysler at number 8.
Chrysler is not on this list.
GM at number 9.
GM is number 5. You are so bad at list guessing.
Okay, GM at number 5.
Yeah.
Their percentage is... So Ford at number 6 is 1%. And Charter Communications, which is Spectrum, at number 4 is negative 0.2. Let's put GM at 0.3%.
So close.
So far.
$9.4 billion in profits, $20 million in taxes.
$20 million.
Yeah.
For one of the biggest 3 auto manufacturers in the entire country.
Yeah. General Motors, founded in 1908, is based in Detroit, Michigan. It owns 4 major auto brands: Chevrolet, GMC, Cadillac, and Buick. I have a Chevrolet. It's the largest automaker in the U.S. It was the largest in the world before losing to Toyota in 2008. In March 2009, after the company had received $17.4 billion in bailouts, but was not effective in a turnaround, President Barack Obama forced the resignation of CEO Rick Wagner. Again, just fucking love to see government forcing their hand in corporations that can't get their shit together. General Motors filed for a government-backed Chapter 11 reorganization in June of 2009. So again, like I mentioned, government kind of took over the company for a little bit. On July 10th, 2009, the original GM sold assets and some subsidiaries to an entirely new company, including the trademark GM. Liabilities with the original GM, renamed Motors Liquidation Company, freed the company of many liabilities, resulting in a new GM. So basically, they created a new company. They transferred everything good, their trademark, everything, to the new company. Everything bad, their liabilities and their debts, stayed with the old company, and they just fucking liquidated it. How is that shit legal?
I don't know.
One fun fact that I learned in like researching all this is that the original GM like loan services that got broken up through this process turned into Ally Bank. That is like
I know Ally
major
Bank,
bank today. Yeah, I use Ally Bank, and they're great. So that was a little fun fact.
2 parades in one day, Alex.
Yeah. So what do you think about GM?
I've never owned a GM or any of those brands that GM owns, so I can't really speak to that. But as far as all the shit you told me tonight, fuck them.
Fuck them. My car's good, but that's about it. Fuck
yeah, fuck them. Fuck your car. I didn't realize that the president could force a CEO out, but I guess when the government probably owned them through the bailout money, that they could do that. Because otherwise, without the bailout money, the president could not have fired the GM.
Yeah,
or not
probably,
the GM. Was it the CEO?
Not.
The CEO.
It was the CEO. Yeah.
Any other auto manufacturers?
No more auto manufacturers. You got 2 oil companies and a chemicals company.
ExxonMobil.
Where do you think they are?
You said a chemical company is the other one?
Oh no, ExxonMobil is on the list.
I know, but I was trying to think like if ExxonMobil isn't number 2, what could be number 2?
The chemical company is like, I've heard of them, but like it wouldn't be top of mind. Like it's not a company that would like come straight to my mind. They're a little obscure.
Not like a butt.
Not like
straight to your mind.
Yeah.
Okay. Butt comes right up there, right on. It's kind of living up there on top.
Yeah.
Easy access.
But the company of butts is actually number 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's apt that they're number 2. But I'll say that the real number 2 is ExxonMobil.
That is incorrect. ExxonMobil was number 9.
God damn it. Number 9, I knew it.
They made $9.3 billion in profits and paid $262 million in taxes. So ExxonMobil, oil, just like telecommunications, also used to be a monopoly. So you had AT&T that had a monopoly over all of telecommunications. You had Standard Oil, which had a monopoly over all of oil in the United States.
Good. Simpler times, Alex.
Great. Way back in 1911. There is a lawsuit from the United States government, antitrust lawsuit, to break up Standard Oil. It broke up into like 9, I think, different subsidiaries or whatever. And ExxonMobil started out as Standard Oil, which was, one of those 9 subsidiaries or whatever. And through many mergers and acquisitions and bullshit and fuckery, became the largest descendant of Standard Oil. Which today, and then it rebranded itself as ExxonMobil in 19.
I've always hated the name ExxonMobil.
Yeah.
Also, you said that the government broke them up in 1912.
Yeah.
Because they broke up AT&T, I think you said 1982.
Correct.
Which is like, basically modern times. In 1912, who gives a fuck how big a company is in 1912? It's not like they could, because like today, it's very evident the dangers of a corporation being too big.
Yeah.
But in 1912, just seems like you got other shit on your mind, like as a government, like World War I, maybe right around the corner. It's interesting that happened, but obviously I don't know all the details. So
who knows? Glad it happened though. But surprisingly, like there's been a lot of mergers and fuckery there. But looking at the chart today, there are still quite a few oil companies. So there's a decent amount of competition in the sphere, unlike telecommunications where there's AT&T, Verizon, and Sprint. And that's like it.
And Sprint doesn't even exist anymore. They were acquired.
Oh, were they?
I think T-Mobile maybe.
Oh, fuck them.
Acquired them. Fuck them. So are all the modern oil companies in America descendants of Standard Oil?
Every single one.
Is Phillips 66 on here?
They are not on the list. I got a few more notes on ExxonMobil before we move on. So it is the largest non-government owned company in the energy industry in the world. So like there's some like countries, right, that kind of manage oil, like Saudi Arabia, right? They have a bigger oil program, but it's like government owned. It produces 3% of the world's oil and 2% of the world's energy. And that's just a wild stat. Like 2% of the world's energy comes from one company. That's wild.
3% of the world's oil. That sounds small, but when you consider that they're America based, I assume.
Yes. It's widely criticized for its history of climate change denial. They changed their mind in like 2014 on it, but there's like evidence that like they've known since the fucking 80s and just like kept it to themselves.
What do you expect them to do, Alex? How are they going to make money if they can't make oil anymore?
It's the 5th largest contributor of greenhouse gases in the world and commits less than 1% of their profits towards researching alternative energy. That's the thing that kills me about these fucking oil companies. It's like, sure, get your bag, but like oil's not going to be around forever, and you gotta start fucking researching into other energy, you know?
You think, like, I get what you're saying, like it would benefit your company to continue producing oil now. That's where the money is. But as a company, you have to realize that there is only so much oil to be found at some point, and not that far off. You're going to have to find alternative methods. But guess what? That's the problem for the next few generations.
All they care about is short-term growth. Let's just get to the next quarter. There's no long-term vision.
And that's what kills me about, so many people that will say like, well, you can't get rid of the oil companies or you can't have them stop making oil. Think of all the jobs that will be lost. It's true that jobs will be lost, but new jobs will be created, right? To replace them. And also fucking Joe Smith losing his job is not enough reason to not stop global warming or slow it down.
You should not stifle innovation at the, fact of like losing shitty jobs. Yeah.
So I hope people tuned in today hoping to hear us bitch, because that's what you gotten. Fuck them. BP.
BP is not on this list, no.
Okay, so ExxonMobil, BP, Phillips. What are the other big oil companies? Struggling to think of one. Oil companies. Chevron.
Yeah, Chevron
Shell.
is it. Yes.
All right. Chevron's got to be number 2.
Chevron is number 8.
God damn it. What's number 2? All right, Chevron. Their tax rate is 1.6%.
1.8.
It wasn't 0.1 off though this time.
0.2 off. They made $9.5 billion and paid $174 million in taxes. So Chevron, another descendant of Standard Oil, they originally were called Standard Oil of California and rebranded to Chevron in 1985. 2000s, yeah, agreed. Lots of mergers and fuckery in the 2000s. Biggest being they acquired Texaco in 2001, which is kind of a big name. Since January 2011, Chevron has donated almost $15 million to government lobbying, most of that to the Republican Party.
What? Hang on. Whoa, I'm reeling. Hang on. Oh, Jesus Christ. Is that real? Hang on. Can you fact check that? That can't be right.
I did fact check it.
Oh, my God. Okay, if you say so. It just sounds so surprising. I'm not sure if I can buy it, but for the sake of the show, let's keep going.
You got one left. Number 2. Oh,
since we've already been bitching this whole time, let's just bitch about one more thing. How is lobbying fucking legal? Like, seriously.
It shouldn't be.
Do other countries have lobbies?
I don't know. I don't know. I doubt it.
I mean, surely when you go into a hotel, there's a lobby there, right?
Get the fuck out. I'm unsubscribing.
Oh, you thought I was complaining about lobbying. I was just talking about lobbies.
Oh yeah.
I don't think we should have many more in hotels. I think you should just go straight to your room, no lobby, bypass the lobby. All right, number 2 is a chemicals company, right?
Yes, it shares a name. The name is very similar to something that reminds you of finances and stock markets, but it has nothing to do with this thing that sounds like finances and stock markets. I don't know if that's going to ring a bell or not.
Give me a letter. What's it start with?
It starts with a D, and it's not Dick.
Douche? Dank? D.
It's just Dow. It's Dow.
Dow.
Yeah, you've heard of Dow, but it's like not a company that's like top of mind.
Yeah, right. Not like Butts, like we said.
Not like Butts, yeah.
Dow is number 2,
yes.
And they're going to be at negative
3.1.
Damn.
They made $1.5 billion in profits. So I guess they are the smallest on this list. Yeah, $1.5 billion in profits, and government paid them back $46 million.
Why are they like always mentioned? Why are they like such a part of the stock market?
They're not. It has nothing in relation to Dow Incorporated, the chemical company.
I see. I'm sorry. All right.
But anyway, Dow, one of the top 3 largest chemical producers in the world. It was founded in 1897 by chemist Herbert Henry Dow, which is
Listen to the show.
not as good of a name as Mr. Starr.
I mean, it's an okay name, but yeah,
That's
you're
fine.
right. It's hard to compete with Starr.
So at the time, he invented a new method of extracting bromine that was trapped underground in brine in Midland, Michigan. The company originally sold only bleach and potassium bromide, achieving a bleach output of 72 tons a day in 1902.
Can you slow down? I can't write this down fast enough. This is I really want to remember this.
I'll tell you, this is going to get more exciting as we go on.
Okay.
So
all right.
They made nuclear weapons from 1951 to 1975 and are responsible for Agent Orange in the Vietnam War. Are you familiar with what Agent Orange is?
Yes, Agent Orange, one of the best things we ever did.
Next, I have in all caps, breast implants.
Oh, baby.
Throughout the 80s and 90s, class action lawsuits brought by tens of thousands of plaintiffs claimed that Dow's silicone breast implants caused systematic health problems. The claims first centered on breast cancer and then migrated to a range of autoimmune diseases, including lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, and various neurological problems. This led to numerous lawsuits, ended in a $3.2 billion class action settlement. As a result, Dow was in bankruptcy protection for 9 years, ending in 2004, during which time it largely withdrew from clinical markets. So no more breast implants from Dow.
I don't know where to start with this. We as a society, Alex, you hear about breast implants from time to time. Like, we're aware, they're out there. You hear people talk about a boob job or whatever.
Yeah.
But how often have you ever thought about the people that manufacture, the companies that manufacture the breast implant material? You probably never thought of that, right? Before today.
But you know what I say to them?
Fuck them.
Fuck them.
I agree. I agree. Costing us who knows how many breast implants by being in bankruptcy for 10 years. But they paid a $3-something billion settlement, right?
Yeah.
That's more than they made in profits in 2021.
That is true. That is true. So all
Don't
those
fuck with people's titties.
Fake tittied people got a chunk of that settlement.
Fake tittied people. Well, a lot of them are fucking dead, I think. But
yeah, probably.
Yeah, nothing fake about that.
So you did it. You got the top 10. Perfect.
Great.
First try. No oopsies, no redos.
Oops. All correct guesses.
Let's bring you through the top 19 again. How about that? So we had number 19, the United Parcel Service. Number 18, Microsoft. Number 17, Coca-Cola. 16, Verizon. 15 was Amazon. 14, JP Morgan Chase. 13, Nike. 12 was FedEx. Number 11 was Merck & Co. Still don't know what they do. Number 10, Bank of America. Number 9 was ExxonMobil. Number 8 was Chevron. Number 7 was Metlife Insurance. 6 was Ford Motor Company. 5 was General Motors. 4, Charter Communications or Spectrum. 3 was AIG, American International Group. 2 was Dow Chemical Company. And number 1 was AT&T.
Alex, I don't know what to say about this list other than let's get back in our time machine and come all the way back to 2024. I mean, we went way back there. I wasn't comfortable going that far back.
Do you feel more or less uplifted after going through this episode with me?
You have an uncanny ability to always leave me feeling upset, frustrated, not uplifted, uninspired.
You know what? My wife said the same thing to me earlier today. Have you two been talking?
No, you forget that I am your wife. I wear a zip-up costume.
And I'm you.
One of these days, you're going to be in bed and you're going to say, good night, honey, and you're going to roll over to turn off your lamp and go to sleep. But right before you do, you notice a little zipper protruding out of your wife's upper back shoulder area. And you say, what is that? And you start tugging on it and you start pulling it down and you realize it's me in a costume.
Oh, baby.
Oh, baby. You'd be happy, huh? You wouldn't be upset?
Hell yeah.
Alex, if you had to pay only negative 0.41% in taxes this year, you'd be doing pretty good, huh?
God, I get like $4 back.
Well, Tennis Podcast, the people can feel comfortable knowing that we pay more than 3.5% in our taxes, which is what number 10 pays, Bank of America. So
hell yeah.
We're doing our part.
Doing our part. And you should do your part too, listener.
You should. Pay your taxes, even though the government already knows what you owe or they owe you, do your taxes anyway, because that's what we have to do. It's our American duty. Listener, I want to thank you for listening to me today. I hope you'll follow us on social media. You can follow us at TennisPod on your favorite social network. The links are in the show notes. If you want to hear the next week's episode early and ad-free, go to tennispod.com/plus, sign up, and you can get that for a free 7-day trial. Alex, is there anything else you want to plug before I kiss you goodnight?
Plug your butthole. Happy tax season, everyone.
All right, happy tax season. He's Alex. I'm Nick.